Customer service job will give you exactly that. Petro-Canada was a customer service job.
It is actually very hard to expand your social network
That is true.
outside your familiar surrounding. If you have not been educated here,
We usually only know of networking through LinkedIn or applying jobs online. But I think a very good way to start off is to print copies of your resume.
Technically, my first job was actually a landscaping job. I actually have no shame in telling people कि मैंने थोड़ा बहुत accent पकड़ लिया था यहाँ.
how did the idea of VR services came?
हम जब घर देखने जाते हैं, we can see a lot more than just the picture.
Welcome to another episode of Dollar Dreams podcast, where we share stories of everyday people who have made Canada their home. Today I have two special guests with me, Roshan and Rohan Nair. Welcome to the show, Roshan and Rohan.
Thank you, Neha. Thank you for having us.
Let's start where you guys grew up.
So we are Mumbaikars. We have been born, raised, educated in Mumbai all our lives. We have lived in Mumbai. We come from Kerala, and again, I mean, there is an interesting story there. So my dad is a Keralite, my mom is a Maharashtrian.
So there's a love marriage.
It's a love marriage, yes.
Did they have to fight hard to get married, or was it?
I don't think so.
Well, it was a fight, but I don't think it was a very hard one.
Yeah, it's not as dramatic as we see in
in the movies,
Bollywood movies.
Yeah, but yeah.
So you had your education in Mumbai.
Yes.
You graduated in what year?
2011.
And you both are twins.
We are twins.
I mean, as you can see.
We don't have to tell you that.
And what education?
So we are both engineers. We both did the same.
Did you went to the same college also?
We went to the same college. We have always been together in the same class from the school time. Same junior college, same degree, so same set of friends, everything same. So both of us graduated at the same time.
I think until the age of 22, we were together. Like we had everything was like happening pretty much in sync. I think once we moved to started working, right? That's when we actually got separated, and
And where did you start working?
So I started with L&T Infotech, which is LTI Mindtree now, and he was with Infosys.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
that's
I was with Infosys also. My first job was with Infosys.
Same. So that's when I had to move to Mysore for my training with Infosys, and then he was in Bangalore.
What a coincidence. Both of us, like me and my husband, they are from Mysore, and we moved to Mysore and Bangalore.
Wow.
So go ahead. So you joined Infosys, and he joined L&T Infotech. And did you have the same branch also for engineering? Or?
Yes, same branch.
Which was?
That information technology.
Information technology.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my journey was, our journeys were different ever since we started working. And then, eventually he was working in different countries and different cities and stuff like that. And then I was in Pune for a little bit before I came to Canada.
So what made you come to Canada? You had a good job. You were actually traveling, like you were going on site. So
That's right.
And you were in Mysore or Bangalore?
I was in Pune.
Pune at that time.
So after the 6-month mandatory training that Infosys has,
then you moved to
you
Pune.
get posted to different parts of India. So I was posted in Pune.
So what made you decide to come to Canada?
At that age, when you're in your early 20s, there's a fad of, especially in the engineering circuit, there's this fad of, having on-site opportunities and exploring.
Also to make more money.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And then, you had that fascination of, how things would be, how's the work culture, how the people overseas and all of that. So when I got my first exposure to an overseas client and working overseas, right, that really fascinated me. And then I used to have these conversations with Roshan that, the work is pretty much the same, but life's different, right?
Yeah.
Why not experience this side of life as well, right? And if we get that opportunity at in your prime age, then why not, right? So that's where it began. And eventually, so one of our very close school friends moved to Canada. And whenever he used to come to India for vacations, he used to tell us stories about his life here and all of that. And he used to motivate the both of us as well, and push us that why don't you guys also try, right? Because you have the skills, and Canada is looking for this specific skill of workers and all of that.
So before that, usually when people think of moving, they think of US. They usually don't think of Canada as their first choice.
That's exactly thought about as well. So personally, if you ask me, short answer is we never planned to come to Canada, and not even in our wildest dreams about Calgary.
So have you heard of Calgary before?
No, honestly, no. I didn't even know there was a city called Calgary. We were planning for the US because I think back in the day, and I'm talking about 10, 11 years back, the trend was such that, you just do your engineering degree, and then a lot of my friends went for masters in the US. So that was the general pattern that everybody around us was following. We just thought since we had 4-5 years of experience, it might probably give us an edge of having industry experience. And then if we pursue our masters, it might make it a lot more easier for us. So we were thinking about USA, but the friend that he is referring to, his name is Vishesh Panikar. We are not just school friends, we are actually childhood chuddy buddies, as we call.
He's a Keralite too, right? I can recognize from the surname.
Yes, he's a Keralite as well. Again, like us, Mumbaikar Keralite. We have grown up together. We went to the school together, and they're also two brothers like us.
Okay.
So we share a lot of commonalities. So he was in Canada. I think they settled with family, like with their mom and dad, back in 2011 or 2012. So he used to tell us stories, as Rohan mentioned. And then I was just talking to him one fine day, and we were just having this candid chat while I was in Mumbai for the weekend. I used to travel to Mumbai very often because I was in Pune. I was talking to him. I was telling him, I'm planning to go to the US for pursuing masters. Just sharing our day to day. So that's when he told me that if you are considering the US, why don't you consider Canada? And I'm like, okay, tell me more. And he's like, okay, so if you are considering to study, why don't you consider also something called as a PR visa? I'm like, what do you mean? What is a PR visa? I had no clue about it. So he was like, okay, so PR is called, it stands for permanent resident visa. Basically, you are like
like a citizen visa. Without
it's almost like a citizen without the voting rights, but you get everything else. And the main at that point, because I was looking at masters, the advantage to that would be my fees would be substantially low if I had a PR, as opposed to having a student visa. So I was like, okay, so like what do we need to do for that? So he was like, okay, there's this consultancy that we approached, and just go through them, just give them a call, they'll give you all the information. At that point, it was just a conversation. I never thought that it's going to be a reality someday. It was, things just kept happening after that point. I shared the idea with Rohan, he was on board as well. Then we shared the idea with our parents, they were also on board. Then we reached out to the consulting firm, and then the process started. And this is back in 2013 when the express entry wasn't there.
There was like federal skilled
workers, FSW, and they had like different categories, and they only accepted.
We also applied through that only.
Right, and they had a cap on every category. So software engineering was one category, and they could only accept 1,000 applications for that year or something like that. So I think we reached out to the consulting firm. They started our paperwork and everything. It so happened that when I got my PR, the 1,000 wala jo limit hai, wo full ho gaya, and then his file got carried forward to the next year. And the reason behind was that because our names are so similar. Right? The date of birth is similar, address is similar. So our agent suggested that आप अपने files एक हफ्ते के गैप में सबमिट करना, otherwise they'll think कि एक ही फाइल 2 बार आ गई. So they may reject one file, assuming that it's a duplicate file.
Yeah.
So this might sound a little odd, but trust me, Neha, we are facing that problem even here in
Till date.
Canada.
Oh, is it?
Yes, till date.
Okay, so this does happen.
It
Yeah.
happens all the time, and because our names are so similar, Rohan, Roshan में just एक S का फर्क है.
Yeah.
So it's very easy for somebody to make
Yeah,
that
especially
mistake.
who's not familiar with
Who's
Indian
not
names.
familiar with.
Yeah.
And to make it even better, we live together.
Yeah,
So our
same
address
address,
is the
same-
same. Our date of birth is the same. We keep, on a funny note, we keep blaming our parents. We just keep telling them कि आप लोग ने थोड़े से राम श्याम भी रख लिया तो. But I mean that's the.
Yeah.
So now we know why the agent might have given that suggestion.
Yeah.
कि भाई तो थोड़ा सा अलग अलग कर लो. And then what happened was because our applications were made
Yeah.
in a week's gap, everything after that, because there's IELTS and there's so many things that come. with the
Everything got
PR,
delayed.
Everything got delayed, and then he had his own work commitments. I had my
Yeah.
own commitments, so we were giving those exams based on our own.
So you
convenient
came
times.
first then.
Yes.
So I came first. I
And
came,
which year was that?
I came in 2015, September 11, 2015.
September 11, 2015. Okay.
Yes, which I think is also Mridula ji's birthday. So it's, I got to know that recently. So yeah, September 11th was when I landed in Calgary. And I think the biggest support that time for me, and we definitely talk about it more, was my friend Vishesh Panikar and his family, not just him.
Yeah.
It was Baburaj Panikar, his dad, and Vidya Panikar, his mom. They were so supportive. I mean,
Of course, it makes a world of a difference. अगर आपको पता है कि कोई है वहाँ पे, not just health, like psychologically आपको इतना
Absolutely.
ज़्यादा better लगता है कि कोई है, मतलब कुछ
Yes.
होगा तो मेरे पास कोई contact है कि मैं emergency में जा सकता हूँ. You haven't heard about Calgary. Did you research before coming?
Got to know about Calgary through Vishesh.
Yeah.
That's when we got to know, okay, so there are majorly two cities in Canada where people prefer going to, Toronto, Vancouver. But, like he always lived in Calgary. And that's when, we actually started, doing our own research. कि अच्छा, Calgary, like, हम कुछ videos देखते थे कि, कैसे दिखता है, how's life in Calgary or in Canada, and things like that. So that's, like, he introduced Calgary to us.
and that time I remember बहुत ज़्यादा information थी नहीं Calgary के बारे में.
Right.
Also इतने ज़्यादा Indian immigrants नहीं थे उस टाइम पे, especially Alberta, Calgary में.
Yeah.
You'd find people in Toronto, Vancouver.
Vancouver.
लेकिन Calgary में बहुत, as compared to what we have now, इतना information है, people who are coming to Calgary, they want to study about the city and all. There's so much
Of course, there's
content
like
out
lot
there.
of social media से भी बहुत फर्क पड़ा है. Lot
बहुत
of
ज़्यादा.
YouTube channels, lot of information online, but not at that time.
Absolutely.
So when you landed here, what was your first impression of Calgary?
Oh, it was a
Because
surreal
it was September,
experience.
so it was a bit chilly, not completely winter yet.
Yes. And I was told about that by Vishesh, that it's going to be a little cold. Mumbai में वैसे we are not used to winter at all.
Yeah.
But there is summer and there is more summer.
Yeah.
And there is monsoon. So there are just two seasons. But there's no winter as such.
Yeah.
So he had told कि भाई jacket वगैरह थोड़ा सा. So I had prepared myself that way. But I think the first impression was definitely, I mean, I don't know how I can articulate it, but it was a very surreal experience. I couldn't believe that I was here. I was in Canada. I didn't have any plans. I came with a very clean slate. I quit my job in Infosys because there was no way that I could come with a job.
Right.
Well, there was a way, but it didn't work out.
Yeah.
Let's say so. I had to leave everything back, and then so I was basically with a clean slate. I came with an open mind because
Very important.
throughout the whole immigration process, like throughout the whole application process, there was just one thing that everybody kept telling us, from the consulting firm to even Vishesh himself, his family, that just come with an open mind. Just be open to everything that you see. Just be very receptive. Keep absorbing as much as you can. and then just take one day at a time, and don't worry.
That is
things
a
will
very
work
good advice for anybody coming,
Yeah.
actually anybody moving anywhere,
Anywhere, exactly.
because if you don't come with an open mind, it would be very hard for you.
out. Absolutely. And I think a couple of things that made it much more easier for me was, number one, I was a lot more younger when I came. So when you're young, you have that appetite of taking.
You're more flexible,
you're
you're
more
more
flexible,
adaptable,
exactly.
you
More
have lesser
adaptable.
needs,
Absolutely.
all that, right?
Absolutely.
Lesser liabilities, right?
Yeah, lesser library. Yeah.
And the
less
second one was because I was a bachelor then.
Yeah.
I only had to look after myself. There was no responsibility other than my own responsibility. So those two things just made it a lot more easier for me to have that kind of a conviction and confidence and open-mindedness that I came with. So that was my very first reaction, and I was just very happy to see Vishesh at the airport. He was kind enough he just basically took me under his wings, sort of a thing. He just came, took my luggage, put it in the car, dropped me
And
off
your
to
journey started. And then
Absolutely.
what happened? Like, how was your first few months, year like?
It was a bit of a struggle, I would say, but it was the best struggle, or the best thing that could ever happen to me, to be very honest.
And why do you say that?
Well, I think, and this is just my personal view. I think because I had to go through that initial 1 year of struggle, I could learn about the culture of Canada faster. And
That is true.
Yes.
Because if you are like, as soon as you come, you get a cushy job, you stay in your bubble, you don't
Exactly.
interact with anybody,
Yeah.
you actually don't know much about the culture. You have to go out of your comfort zone to learn
Absolutely.
about the culture. That is so true.
Absolutely. And I mean, if I were in India, and most of the young people who get a degree from India, and they start working with companies, it could be a startup company or basically a white collar job.
Yeah.
You would never think of
Blue collar
jobs, or you would not even know the
struggles and perspectives.
exactly.
But
Sorry,
also the hidden advantages, because
Yes.
I think back home हम लोग एक set pattern में चलते हैं ना कि you do your degree, you get a job, mostly it's campus placements, and then you start working, and
Yeah.
then
Save money, buy a house.
Yes.
Save money.
But I think the good thing that happened with him was that he could break out of that loop, and he could try out different things here, and that's how he made some amazing contacts within Canada, right? I mean, meeting people and doing jobs that he would never think of doing back home, and he could actually
And that's very impressive, because you came, you both are coming from a well-to-do family, right? It's you had money to, or like you had the capability to take loan and go and study abroad.
Right.
So you were not like financially really struggling.
Right.
You could, you had them. So if you were a little uptight, you could choose to not do that and just like spend money for 1 year till you find. But you did try to go out of your comfort zone. And what was your first job?
Okay, so technically, my first job was actually a landscaping job.
Okay.
It's a very interesting story again. So the next day, so the day I reached 11th September, basically just went in, resting, and the jet lag and everything that comes with your travel, because this was the first time I traveled for such a long time. Like it's a 25-hour journey, so I was a little just trying to adapt myself with everything. The next day, my landlord for the house where I was renting at, he was looking for some help with doing some landscaping in the backyard.
Okay.
And I didn't even know he was a landlord, because Vishesh had been dealing with him, and he's the one who secured the rental place for me while I was in India. So I didn't even know that he was a landlord. So I just happened to speak with him while I saw him, and he was like, "I'm the landlord and I'm looking for some landscaping help."
And were you like moved to a basement at that time?
No,
or
I was renting one room
one room
in the house. So there were
in the house.
a
Okay.
couple other boys, so they were all renting each room, one room each, sort of a thing. I asked him if I could help him. He said, "Well, you can, but I will pay you for that. And that is the first lesson that I learned about Canadian culture, or maybe the North American culture, I'm not sure. So I told him, so usually in India, if we offer to help somebody, we just help somebody. We don't really expect them to
pay you back.
हाँ, pay us back. तो मैंने उनको पूछा कि मैं आपकी वैसे ही मदद कर सकता हूँ. You don't need to pay me for it because I don't have a job. Like I'm basically just
I have time.
I have time, a lot of time. So he told me that no, I mean that wouldn't work. If you help me, I will have to pay you. Otherwise, it's okay. I can find somebody on Kijiji. I was like, okay, sure, that's fine. I mean, we'll see. Let's get started. So he got, and I had no clue what landscaping was. I was, blue collar, हम tie लगा के जाते थे कंपनी में उस टाइम पे. वो भले हम वो टमटम में लटक के जाते थे, that's a separate story.
But tie लगा के तो जाते थे.
tie लगा के जाते थे. So we had that
exposure बहुत ही limited था, like in India.
Yeah. So I never imagined, you'd have to do something like that. तो वहाँ पे उन्होंने फिर बहुत सारे कंक्रीट के slabs उनके ट्रक में थे. So the first thing was just unloading that. I was enjoying that process because I'd never done it. I don't think I would have ever done that in India.
Yeah.
We started doing it. फिर cement लगाया. He told me कैसे करते हैं. I just learned that. We worked for 2 days, 8 hours almost each day. And he paid me, I think, $10, $11 के आसपास per hour.
Right.
In cash.
Yeah.
And that moment was such a, I don't know, surreal moment for me. And that was like my first job, I can say.
His first
salary. Paycheck in Canada.
First paycheck. I mean,
But the good thing is you started earning the second day you came to Canada.
Right. I was a very efficient guy.
एक हफ्ते की grocery तो निकल गई.
आराम से. And I had no clue कि grocery का क्या खर्चा है, rent कैसे मतलब manage होगा and all that. But yeah, that was my first job. And उसके बाद I started looking out. I was applying for jobs every day. Used to apply for 50 jobs almost every day. I didn't know कि कैसे apply करना चाहिए, क्या करना चाहिए, but Vishesh used to guide me a little bit. But मैं करता रहा हर जगह, not just IT companies, everywhere.
Everywhere. So like Tim Hortons, Starbucks,
you name it.
I think, and that's what he meant by saying, he was quite open when he came here. वो कोई एक्सपेक्टेशन लेकर ना ये आया था ना मैं आया था कि इंडिया में मैंने एक स्पेसिफिक टाइप ऑफ जॉब करा है तो मुझे वही जॉब यहाँ पर कंटिन्यू करनी है. I think that was never there, right? Because we knew things are different and you have to start from scratch. It could be a completely different industry altogether. But हमने ये भी सुना है कि लोग जो नई इंडस्ट्री में एंटर करते हैं, a lot of people do really well in that. पढ़ाई किसी और में करी है, लेकिन किसी और इंडस्ट्री में they really do well. So, probably...
I'm an electrical engineer by education. I never worked one day in electrical engineering.
Right? So... And it works out really well for people. So we were even open to, that.
कि कुछ और field भी जा सकते हैं. Like we'll see what opportunity presents.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I think again, the main reason behind that was since we didn't have any responsibilities or he didn't have any responsibilities back home or
even back home. Yeah. Very important. I mean, thankfully, God has been kind. तो वहाँ भी ऐसा नहीं था कि पैसे बेचने हैं. वो भी नहीं था. So I could just explore.
Okay. And then, so how long did you keep applying before you started hearing anything? And I think that time there was a downturn also.
Yes, very, very much. And I was not aware about that before coming. I didn't even know Alberta was an oil and gas sort of a,
economy.
उस time पे Calgary was at a rock bottom. Oil prices were at the rock bottom.
Yeah.
Everybody was losing jobs. So when I came, there were stories about people going through mass layoffs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember that time because I was also laid off at that time.
Okay.
And I remember, like, I used to work for an oil and gas company, but it was a consult, like not direct only. They was a software provider for oil and gas.
Okay.
So before I was laid off, I used to go to the customer's company and half of the floor was empty. Wow. So it was like that.
It was pretty
huge.
Bad. So I think after a couple of weeks, after the whole landscaping thing, 2 हफ्ते बाद I think I got a call from Petro-Canada for an interview.
Okay.
And as naive as I was, my resume was all about IT, and that manager still was kind enough to offer me that job.
Yeah, most people will say you're overqualified.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
and again, like as he mentioned, right, उस टाइम पर इतने रिसोर्सेज होते भी नहीं थे यूट्यूब में जो आपको गाइड कर पाए.
Right.
आज अगर किसी नए बंदे को आना है, so there is a lot of resources which tells you that, you know, अगर आप एक स्पेसिफिक जॉब के लिए अप्लाई कर रहे हो तो आपको रेज्यूमे वैसे ट्वीक
कैसे
करना
बनाना है.
पड़ेगा. You cannot show some other industry experience when you are
You know
going.
what? I learned all those things after I was laid off because they gave me as part of the severance package, there was some company that used to coach you. For a month, they coach you how to do your resume, cover letter.
Right.
And that's when I actually learned how to.
Exactly, right? So, like, absolutely being unaware, and again, you know, I think it was luck that, you know, Petro-Canada still recognized or, you know, considered him for that position, and then, yeah.
and because I realized that जब मैं गया था इंटरव्यू के लिए, that manager was holding my resume and it was all IT stuff. So I was like, how could I be so stupid कि मैंने थोड़ा तो उसको update करना चाहिए था, but he was kind enough. Then they asked me to start the very next day. So I started working at the Rundle gas station, a Petro-Canada gas station, which is right across from the Peter Lloyd Hospital. It's still there.
Yeah.
And I did 1 week of training. The next week, they actually put me on a night shift.
Okay.
So I was basically going to be alone in the store, managing technically everything.
Yeah, and Rundle is a little bit like that area is a little
Yeah,
bit
it's a little shady.
shady.
It's not the best area to start your journey in Calgary.
Especially when you are like naive, you don't know
Yes.
about any.
Had
Yeah.
absolutely
And it's a
no
night
clue.
shift.
It's a night shift. So, do you have any interesting stories from that time?
I do have a couple. And they were pretty scary
Oh, is it?
stories. Very scary stories. Especially, you know, because I was a newcomer and I had no clue what to expect, what not to. Didn't know about Randall and that area. And there was a hospital right across the street, right?
Yeah.
So रात में क्या होता था ना, if you go to that area, एक ही स्टोर है जिसकी लाइट जली हुई है, बाकी everything is dark. So obviously a lot of people are attracted to that
Yeah.
place, you know, so they keep coming there. So I had an incident where, you know, there used to be druggies who used to be lingering around, and then they used to step into the store. I don't know if they carried weapons, but they used to be completely out, hallucinated, and I had to literally drag one person out because I feared if he would puke and just dirty everything.
Then you
I had to clean that. So that was one. The other one was there was this guy who came, who was discharged apparently from the hospital, and he came directly into the store and started banging the door. So I had to open the door for him. It was locked. Usually दरवाजा लॉक करने के लिए बोलते हैं वो स्टोर की रात के टाइम पे,
Okay.
unless it's a cab driver who wants to come inside and pay for the gas or something like that.
दरवाजा लॉक करने का बोलते हैं तो फिर लोग आके सामान कैसे खरीदते हैं?
हाँ, so you have to open at that time.
Open when
आप-
anybody comes.
हाँ
Like
जी,
उसको
हाँ जी.
पूरे टाइम ओपन नहीं
so
रखना है.
if you see that the person is like a decent person, या फिर आपको कुछ रेड फ्लैग्स नहीं दिख रहे, you can, there is a button, तो आप प्रेस करो तो दरवाजा वहां से खुल सकता है
ठीक है.
रात
Okay.
के समय. So you started banging and it was to a point कि मुझे लगा ये तोड़ देगा दरवाजा शायद, and I had no clue what to do. It was probably just my second week in the gas station job. So I opened the door, he came inside, started yelling at me, abusing me, and there was no आजकल तो शायद वो कुछ वो ग्रिल लगा देते हैं just for safety of the employee.
Yeah.
उस टाइम पे ऐसा कुछ नहीं था.
Yeah.
If he had a gun or whatever, I was basically exposed to that.
Yeah.
So he started yelling at me. He wanted me to give the store ka phone, he wanted to make a phone call or something like that. I was asked to not do that by my manager because उस टाइम पे ये भी था कि बहुत सारे लोग स्टोर के फोन से ड्रग डीलिंग करते थे, and then the store owner used to be in the soup.
Accountable then.
He used to be
Yeah.
accountable. तो I was like नहीं यार मेरा मोबाइल ले ले, स्टोर का फोन रहने दे. I was so scared and so
Yeah.
naive
Yeah.
that I could risk my own
Yeah.
you know phone number and my own identity for that.
Yeah.
लेकिन मैंने बोला स्टोर का नहीं करना, तू मेरा ले ले फोन. He started yelling at me, so he called 911 himself, and then he was like started yelling at the police officer. So 2 मिनट के लिए मैंने उससे फोन लिया. पुलिस ऑफिसर ने मुझे पूछा कि कौन है ये बंदा, do you know him, does he have a weapon, all that. And I didn't know what to do. I was just like, officer, I'm at the Rundle gas station, I don't know what to do.
and 10 मिनट के अंदर
पुलिस आ गई
and then they took that guy away and then they asked me all sorts of questions and statement वगैरह लिखवाया. That experience just shook me. I was a bit scared after that because I didn't know ऐसा हो सकता है. So after that point I made up my mind कि यार I have to now start looking elsewhere. I can't continue like that for too long because it's not safe.
Yeah. अभी recently Calgary में incident हुआ ना where this Punjabi girl was assaulted by
Yes, at the train station. At the train station, that's right.
So it's common. It's becoming more common. I feel like
more common now.
थोड़ा सा hate और online hate तो बढ़ी गया है. I think against Indian people. I don't know why, but then ये stations में भी काफी बार हुआ है. Like I know one person, she was sitting on the train station and she's a very like quiet and very I won't say like उसको देख के ये तो थोड़ी डरती भी है. Like she's very quiet girl.
Right.
उसका हाथ पकड़ लिया जोर से.
Oh.
And she was not letting the hand go. And after like and then some people intervened and like they let her go and she was like really shaken.
Wow.
And she is क्या बोलते हैं उसको अमृतधारी होते हैं ना जो सरदार जो वो पग पहनते हैं. So she is that. So maybe she was like differentiated in that way. That's why she was targeted, but it's very scary.
Yeah. I mean, उस time पे अभी तो जैसे आप कह रहे हो, there is a lot of these experiences. Could be racist experiences also, but उस time पे इतना ज़्यादा सुनने में नहीं आया था Calgary.
But Randall area itself, that area itself is a little bit shady.
I think yes, because like my experience in Calgary has been that people are really warm and helpful here. So just
it's
for
like
your
the majority of the people are.
Exactly.
Like, I think it's more like I think the city has a bigger problem with homelessness and drug than anything else.
Exactly. But people are really kind, willing to help. And if you don't know something, they'll take time to orient you and all of that, right? So even on the road, अगर आपने learners ये sticker लगाया है जो भी लगाया है, so they are considerate.
They'll show patience.
Exactly. They do not honk and all of that, right? So that is really a good experience to have, right? Again, what I was saying is for your listeners, we are not trying to scare anybody with all these experiences, right? No. It was one of
कहीं भी
experience कहीं भी हो सकता है.
और कहीं भी आप रात को काम करोगे, and if you're alone by yourself, the chances are there because
absolutely.
And depends, like you are very next to the hospital, that area is shady, so it's not like it's been very safe.
Exactly. So you just have to be cautious. Positive of that was जैसे मैंने बताया 10 मिनट में the cops were there.
Yeah.
So वो एक level of trust आपका build हो जाता है, for the system that you have around you, that they are looking after you. That kind of a thing. So that was one experience. So ऐसे बहुत सारे होते रहते थे. So I started looking out for something else. Then I got a job in Canada Post.
Okay.
As a retail clerk. The first question I asked them was, is it a night shift? They said, no, like, I am taking the job. Right? So, yeah, I mean, it has been a very interesting. So the 1 year just went by in all different kinds of jobs. But the one takeaway, the biggest takeaway for me in that journey, and I kept telling him also when he came, was do not aim for an IT job immediately after you come to Canada. Even if you get it, I would say try to do at least one customer service job. At least one. It could be any job.
And I think that is why people here insist that you have to have some Canadian experience.
Exactly.
Right? Because you get to understand. It's not about the work experience. It's about the cultural experience.
Absolutely. And there are very small things that nobody tells us. Very, very small things that you only understand as you keep working in any country outside of India. आपको कल्चर का मतलब सिर्फ उनका रहन सहन या खाना पीना नहीं होता. It is also how they speak, or how they think, or how they think. That is also a culture that you need to. The Canadian experience actually has all these things, little things that you need to sort of get yourself familiar with. Customer service job will give you exactly that. अगर आप किसी जैसे Petro-Canada was a customer service job. I mean, sales job जो मैंने शॉ में करी थी, that was a customer service job. So when you're talking and interacting with Canadian people,
you get to know how they think, you get to know how they speak, the words that they use. There are certain jargons that they use, like living
Their
the dream.
jokes.
Their jokes,
Yes.
you get to learn that. And it's very important for all the immigrants to learn that and try to understand that, because that will only help you.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, maybe there lot of people come with this this mindset that we will remain the way we are.
I was
we
about
don't,
to say
we don't
that.
want to change.
Yeah, that's not. If you don't want to change, then you should not come. First, people who should not come to Canada.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's a personal view that you must try and blend into the culture.
Yeah.
है ना? आप ये नहीं मेरे हिसाब से कि मैं कनाडा आ तो गया हूँ, लेकिन आई ओनली स्टिक टू इंडियन फोक्स, ओनली इंडियन कम्युनिटी. मैं मेरा सोशल सर्कल एक्सपैंड नहीं करूँगा, एंड आई विल नॉट स्पीक with the locals here and all that. I don't think that will teach you anything new, right? Because आप वही चीजें कर रहे हो जो आप इंडिया में कर रहे थे.
But I would tell you one thing. There is actually so this is my personal experience. It is actually very hard to expand your social network
That is true.
outside your familiar
That's true as
surrounding.
well.
If you have not been educated here,
Yeah.
so आपको वो opportunities कम मिलती हैं. और अगर मिलती भी हैं, because हमारा so their upbringing is completely different. Our upbringing is
Agreed.
completely. The
Agreed.
culture
Yeah.
is different. There is so much less common things
Yeah.
that it is hard. It is hard to sustain and build.
Yeah.
But again, like if you are willing to try different things, it could happen, and it will
Exactly.
give you a new perspective.
Exactly. And again, when I say like we need to blend in and expand the social circle, see, it's never going to happen. जो अभी मेरा रैपो विशेष के साथ है,
हाँ.
कोई इंडियन रेस वाले बंदे के साथ है, एग्जैक्टली वैसा रैपो या बॉन्डिंग उनके साथ नहीं बनेगी.
Yeah.
बट ऑल आई एम ट्राइंग टू से दैट वी हैव टू बी मोर वेलकमिंग.
Yeah.
हमारे कुछ फेस्टिवल्स हो गए, इनवाइट योर नेबर्स हु आर लोकल्स, राइट? टेल देम मोर अबाउट योर कल्चर, बिकॉज कहीं ना कहीं उनके दिमाग में एक परसेप्शन बन गया है इंडियंस के बारे में.
Yeah.
एंड इन माई एक्सपीरियंस आई थिंक मोस्टली इट्स नॉट द राइट परसेप्शन.
Yeah.
थोड़ा वो गलत परसेप्शन बैठ गया है. आई थिंक दैट्स वेयर वी कम इन, राइट?
Because they don't know us.
Because they don't know us. So if they interact more with you, if they learn more about your culture, they'll know that India is more than what they know, right?
I think the whole point of us moving outside of our comfort zone, India is a comfort zone. The reason why we moved out is to enrich ourselves, evolve as people, because in a way we were living in a bubble. हमको
Yeah.
बस इतना ही पता है. Even India में, we only know about Mumbai. We know
Exactly.
a little bit about Kerala.
Yeah.
हम इंडिया भी नहीं घूमे. We haven't visited so many good places like Rajasthan, or we haven't gone there, Kashmir. तो यहाँ आने का एक वो भी है कि you just enrich yourself. You have the opportunity to mingle with people from all over the world. If you're talking to, let's say, a Russian, you get to know, you get to learn about their culture.
Yes.
And how things are done in Russia.
Mhm.
Vice versa, they are able to learn about you. So be receptive to that. Tell them about your culture. Learn about their culture. But try to be the best version of you as possible, because they are going to judge your entire community by the way you treat them.
Yes. You're representing your community.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're speaking with,
So this one incident that happened with me while I was at Shaw at sales. बहुत सारे लोग बोलते हैं ना कि आप कनाडा यूएस जाके आते हो तो आपने एक्सेंट पकड़ लिया होगा. I actually have no shame in telling people कि मैंने थोड़ा बहुत एक्सेंट पकड़ लिया था यहाँ का, but that was required at that point.
Of course, you
And that-
want to be, if you are in a sales job, you want to be understood better. You don't want to repeat yourself.
Exactly.
Like, because when I used to say something in an Indian accent, because we have a very thick accent,
Yeah.
obviously, because English is not our first language.
Yeah.
So we talk in a certain way, and a lot of Canadians are not able to understand that. So they keep asking us, beg your pardon,
Repeat.
what did you just say? Can
Yeah.
you repeat? Can you repeat? So I used to feel, yaar, ye kyun kar rahe hain? Like, are they not able to? Because I'm saying it very clearly. Are they still not able to understand? But the accent, I had to tweak it a little bit so that they could understand clearly. Those little things and those little changes that go a long way, a very long way.
So that's how they would judge your entire community. I
Yeah.
mean, and of course, Indians, Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, people don't know.
Yeah,
They don't know
one thing.
any. Even for
All
us,
desis
if
are
you look
the
at
same.
a Pakistani, we would not know it right
Yeah.
away. We all look the same, right?
Yeah.
Because we are all the same sort of skin tone and everything.
Yeah.
So they are judging us and our community based on how we are treating them at any given point in time. So it is definitely our moral responsibility to be the best version of ourselves when we are treating them, and to show them how rich our culture is.
Yeah. And our culture itself is very welcoming. It is very warm, very welcoming. But I think यहाँ आके हम वो डेली के उसमें इतने फंस जाते हैं शुरू में कि वो उतना ओपन होना, एंड देन यू आर लुकिंग फॉर फेमिलियरिटी. तो हम फिर वही कम्युनिटी में उसी जगह जाते हैं, बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली इट्स अ बिग चेंज. जिसने एक कंट्री नहीं बदली उसको नहीं पता कि इट इज सो हार्ड टू लाइक लुक फॉर दैट फेमिलियर फेसेस, फेमिलियर फूड, स्मेल. So I understand ki why we do it, but I think if we open up, it would be good for us and overall.
Exactly.
So so after that job, so coming back to your journey, what happened? Like you started applying, and then you got the Canada Post job.
I got the Canada
for
Post
1 year, and then.
Yeah, so I did the Canada Post job for about 2 months, and then at the same time I got offered a part-time sales job at Shaw. So Shaw was a very reputed company.
Yeah.
It even is. So I started doing 2 jobs.
And sales job is like selling the internet?
Selling internet, yeah, residential services.
That also, it's a very fun job.
It's
She loved it.
It is actually a very fun job, to be honest, because the kind of incentives that they give, and it was all young people, like college students, school students. So it was a very vibrant atmosphere at work. And I used to work 5 to 9 p.m. 5 p.m. to 9 p.m.
So 2 jobs.
So 2 jobs. So सुबह मैं 9 से 4 Canada Post में करता था in Northwest, and then 5 to 9 I used to go to the Northeast and do the sales job. And I had the best time of my life, to be honest. I used to get physically drained, but mentally I was always very happy, and it was a very pumped up zone that time.
Okay.
Sales I had never done before. I actually found some liking for sales while I was
You know
doing
what?
that.
So I got an advice that everybody should do a sales job once in their life. Sales and
100%.
customer service.
100%. 100%. So that basically gave me an opportunity to step into the industry, the telecom industry. And from there, they promoted me, like they offered me a full-time role, and then they moved me into the business side of things, because earlier I was doing residential. So with business sales, I moved on. I did that for around 4-5 months.
And when did you come then?
So I landed in 2018.
So 3 years?
3.5
Yeah.
years around. Yeah, 3 years. 3 years, since the time
2.5 years.
Just before COVID.
No, not actually. I think COVID happened 2020.
2019 it started.
2019 end के आसपास.
2019 मार्च में ऑलरेडी लॉकडाउन शुरू हो गए
News
थे.
start. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Just in time.
Yeah. But
And you
again,
landed in 2018 September?
2018 May.
May.
Yeah. Yes. But again, the good thing was, for me, he was there, right? So my journey that way was very, I would say easier, as compared to how his journey was, because I had him, and then I also had Vishesh.
Yeah.
So and then through him, I already got to know a lot of things that I wouldn't.
Like how
अगर
to
मैं
apply,
अकेले-
क्या करना है.
Yeah,
Of course.
Yeah, first hand information,
Yeah.
readily available, right? कि ऐसे कर, because he had just come 2 years back, so everything was fresh in his mind. कि Rohan, just follow these steps, and
And when you came, you were in Shaw at that time?
I was in Shaw. Yes, I was. So was with the Shaw already. But then my I was clear that I don't want him to do anything for me. That let me do it my way. But wherever I need you, I'll definitely ask for help. And of course, there was a big help, because मुझे आकर घर ढूंढने की जरूरत नहीं थी because I just moved in with him, right? Wherever
Yeah.
he was renting, I just moved in.
Hmm.
And again, I wasn't having a job or any income here, so he took care of all the expenses for me. So my routine would be, once he left for work, my routine would be just to apply for work. And 2 दिन मैंने घर से apply करा online. And then he's like, I think you also need to step out.
Mm-hmm.
So again, for your listeners, I think it's a very, very effective way of hunting jobs, right? We usually only know of, networking through LinkedIn or, applying jobs online. But I think a very good way to start off is to print copies of your resume.
The traditional way.
And just go out to convenience stores, go into the malls and just give them your resume. It would be awkward, first few resumes when you hand over, it would be awkward, but trust me.
The face-to-face makes a difference.
Yes.
Because in the previous episode, we interviewed Jyotsna, and she also got her first position that way. Like she went to Canadian Tire, she gave the resume, and the manager took the interview right then and there.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
I mean, you never know, right?
Yeah. So, and that really works because, unknowingly, you're actually giving your first interview while you are handing over your resume.
That's true.
First impression.
Yes, that's your pre-screening or a screening happening right there.
Right.
And that makes a huge difference. So that's a big, advice from my end for any person who's looking for a job. Print resumes, just go out there and socialize, make network, right? So when I came, again, the whole, I don't know what that...
Cartronics.
No. I don't know what that group is called, who help with, who help newcomers with building resumes and...
The newcomer immigration service?
The
newcomer
service.
center.
Newcomer center, yeah.
Right.
So they introduced me to, networking through LinkedIn and how I could, send connection requests to, people who are in my industry and then try and meet them.
Right.
And that worked out. So my first job was with Cartronics, which is basically a company that makes these ATM machines. So my role was basically कोई convenience store who has that ATM machine, if there is any issues with that machine, card अटक गया या cash dispense नहीं हो रहा, they used to call us.
Okay.
And then we give
so
them
like technical support.
Troubleshoot basically over the phone call.
And then uske baad, like how long did you...
So that was just a few months. And then I was applying for other companies, and through LinkedIn, I connected with the guy who worked with ATB. And I was brave enough to, meet that guy over a coffee. That guy was a Brazilian. Fabio Speroni was his name. And big thanks to that guy even today, right? Because he helped me.
Of course, you don't understand, but you get so many requests when you are already working, you have like full life. To take that time out, even to meet somebody for a coffee is a big favor.
Yes, big favor.
And again, a part of, sorry to cut you,
Sure.
again, a part of Canadian culture.
Yes.
Meeting for coffee. That is one important thing that a lot of people can do. We just need to take that step.
Yeah.
So life started settling. You both got
Yes.
married.
Yeah.
And then your wife followed, both of your wives followed you here.
Yes.
And what happened next?
It's a different chapter in Canada, right?
Yeah. So that is also like a turning point in our life. Definitely a happy turning point, different turning point. So my wife came along with me after we got married. She had a visa. She had a visitor visa, thankfully, so she was able to come. For him, we had to apply for my sister-in-law Sneha's visa, PR visa. So that took about 8 to 9 months.
Okay.
So मैं शादी के 2 हफ्ते बाद अकेले आ गया वापस.
Okay.
I returned back alone from India, and then I applied for her visa.
And it took
8
to 9 months.
Which is again very hard phase.
I think she got here just before COVID, like
Oh wow.
just before
Otherwise,
things started
तो आप
getting
otherwise or extended.
separated.
otherwise, yeah,
रहते.
long distance उसका
Which I would not
started
recommend anybody,
Yeah.
That's another challenge, when you move out as an immigrant. Like these things we don't even consider, जब हम ये decisions लेते हैं. Like, but like you have to take it with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
I was talking to one of my son's friends' grandparents. They moved from Norway, I think.
Okay.
So, but at that time, when you're moving, you move with a mindset that you're never going to see your family again.
Absolutely.
So compared to that, it is so much easier today.
Oh yeah,
You can travel
absolutely.
back. Like I can't even understand when you're leaving with your wife and your few belongings, never to return back. I can't even understand that.
That's a very difficult thought.
So so the COVID time happened, and then
Yes.
then what?
COVID time happened. Thankfully, things were really good here. India में जितने challenges थे उतने हमने personal level पे face नहीं किए.
During COVID, like
During
when
COVID.
जब हम इंडिया की न्यूज़ देखते हैं तो हमें दिखता है कि कितना chaos है वहाँ पर. Of course, because of
Population.
population, right?
It's hard to
Yeah,
It's not
provide
easy to
care
manage.
at that level.
absolutely.
But here things were still organized है ना. मतलब grocery store में आप जाओ तो I think only the sanitizer and the toilet rolls were that
Out
was
of
the
stock.
only things out of stock. Otherwise everything जो खाने पीने की चीजें हैं उनमें कभी हमने shortage
Yeah.
या वो chaos देखा नहीं. When we visited a superstore or any grocery store, right? I mean things were pretty organized.
In fact, job market was very, very good at that time.
Yeah.
So both of our wives were able to secure a job
Yes.
during the COVID time. Sneha's job was work from home. My wife, she comes from the designing world. So she's a gold medalist from NIFT Hyderabad.
Oh wow.
And
So she's a fashion designer?
she's a textile designer.
Textile designer.
So she designs upholstery like cushion covers, curtains, and all of that.
Oh wow.
She's really good at that. So she came and यहाँ पे वो वाले jobs
Industry
नहीं
नहीं
है.
है.
The closest you can get is an interior designing job.
Yes.
Or an interior decorator
Yeah.
kind of a job. So she was able to secure one of those jobs. But she had to go to the office. It was like a store. It was
Yeah.
a furniture store, design furniture store. She worked there for a little bit, and then she was trying to figure out क्या करना है. Then she chose to change her career to insurance just so she could get into corporate
Yeah.
थोड़ा सा work culture, because she always wanted to try that too. So that was also a big transition for her. So yeah, all four of us were sort of going through that transition in our life, personally and professionally.
Yeah.
So that happened for a little bit. Then we thought, maybe parents को बुलाएंगे कभी. We need a bigger place. तो अभी घर ढूंढना start करते हैं.
Yeah.
So that's a whole different story. We started off with like buying another apartment or something and then moving separately. And then we thought, नहीं यार एक बड़ा घर लेंगे. We'll manage. 4 of us will manage, and then we'll call our parents and ऐसे. That's when we moved to Southeast.
And you bought a house
where
there?
we are living right now.
Okay.
In Copperfield, and we all moved in together.
And then you increased your family?
Yes.
We increased our family. So that was the most beautiful thing that has happened to all of us. So he has an elder daughter, a 2-year-old girl, and a 5-month-old boy.
5-month-old boy.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And I have a 2-year-old boy and 6-month-old twin girls. So,
that is amazing. The kids will have each other's company.
yes.
You're kind of living the dream. the what was that serial? Not the Saas Bahu serial, but similar, like the joint family dream.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because all the kids, like, they don't need anybody else.
Oh yeah, we have like a mini volleyball team
Yeah, already 5 बच्चे हैं.
Exactly.
Daycare भी हम अपना ही बना सकते हैं. We don't need any other kids. हमारे अपने, so yeah, that was beautiful.
And very close in age also. बहुत age
Very close in
difference
age.
नहीं है.
Very close in age. So that happened, just in the last couple of years. So
Congratulations
Thank
to
you.
both of you.
Thank you. Yeah, just enjoying this new phase.
How did the idea of VR services came?
Yeah, so that's an interesting story. So VR here services actually started with, first of all, my own experience. जब मैं आया था यहाँ पे, what Vishesh and Baburaj uncle and Vidya aunty did for me. It so happened that my dad's very old friend in Mumbai, his son and daughter-in-law were planning to move to Calgary. I think this was back in 2021, if I remember this correctly. And my dad just told me, that Kunal and Shweta are moving. So, we'll just try to do whatever we can so that it's easy for them. So me and my wife, we were like, yeah, sure.
So we reached out to them. हमने उनसे बातचीत, and Kunal and I did not know each other very well. It was just our fathers who were friends for the last 30-40 years.
Yeah.
We might have just met 1 or 2 times, but I didn't know anything about Kunal. And now we are the best of friends right now, knock on the wood. So he told me that, they are moving to Calgary, they're looking for an apartment and stuff like that. So my wife and I were like, okay, sure, we can try to find something for you guys. So we told them कि ये website है, यहाँ पे आप देख लो, कुछ आपको पसंद आए हमको भेज देना. We'll reach out to them locally, जाके हम देख भी आएंगे, कोई टेंशन नहीं है. So they just kept sending us a couple of listings, and then we were like, sure, हम लोग whenever we are free, we would just go and take a look. उनको वीडियो भेज देते थे. So वो जो experience, and when they came to Calgary, हम गए उनको एयरपोर्ट पर रिसीव करने, और we just took them straight to the apartment. So the same situation that happened with me,
you were able to give
I was able to give it back, to somebody else.
Yeah.
So they came, we took them to the apartment.
And they had kids?
No, they were just, they had recently gotten married.
Okay.
Then. So उनको उनके घर में छोड़ने से पहले हम अपने घर ले आए. My mom and dad were with us that time, and थोड़ा सा उनको comfort किया, खाना बना, घर का खाना खा के, then the next day we went with them, सारे bags सामान सब वो किया. Exactly what Vishesh had done, and the Panikar family had done for us.
वगैरह कर दी.
Groceries हमने लेके रख ली. We went with them to Walmart, वो सारा कुछ कर दिया. The reaction that we saw after that, we were not expecting that. जो उनके पेरेंट्स ने हमको जिस तरह से ब्लेस किया, या फिर जो हमारी gratitude express किया on a video call, they were weeping and they were like,
oh, wow.
We couldn't imagine anybody doing this for. Now we are fine. अभी हमको पता है they are in good hands.
Yeah.
इतना कौन करता है, and it was not a very big thing for us to do. Like we never imagined it to be such a big thing.
Yeah.
We just wanted to help in whatever way we can. That experience actually kind of gave this a little छोटा सा जो seed है about something like this.
What if कि कि अगर किसी का नहीं है यहाँ पे कोई, तो उनको कितना different experience होगा?
I think after they moved, मैंने मेरी wife ने हमने इनसे बात करी. We were like, what if we start some initiative जहाँ पे हम और newcomers जो आ रहे हैं, we help them out with this, because होता क्या है, when you're a newcomer, you are already in a lot of stress. आपको भी वहां जाके सेटल होना है. अगर आप PR लेके आ रहे हो, जॉब नहीं है तो आपको जॉब ढूंढना है. अगर जॉब लेके आ रहे हो तो आपको ये पता करना है कि ऑफिस कहाँ है, ट्रैवल कैसे करना है, कम्यूट कैसे. बच्चे आ रहे हैं तो और भी 4 चीजें ऐड हो जाती हैं उसमें. वी वर लाइक कि क्या हम उनका ये जो बेसिक नीड है ना, जो घर, यूटिलिटीज, इनिशियल ग्रोसरी, एयरपोर्ट पिकअप, ये सॉर्ट आउट कर सकते हैं क्या, सो दैट दे कैन देन फोकस ऑन दी मोर इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग्स लाइक SIN नंबर, बैंक अकाउंट एंड ऑल ऑफ दोस थिंग्स. The idea was that, and we knew that it's going to be a big help for a lot of people जिनके friends हैं भी, जिनके नहीं भी हैं.
Right.
Because होता क्या, अगर friends है भी यहाँ पे, they are busy with their life.
Yeah.
Maybe हर कोई जाके आपके लिए घर नहीं देख पाएगा.
हाँ.
लेकिन अगर आपके बिहाफ में कोई आपको वो घर की वीडियो लेके भेज रहा है इंडिया में, it is such a big relief for you and your family.
Yeah.
कि we know exactly what to expect. We know exactly, क्योंकि फोटोज में कई बार आप ऑनलाइन जाके देखते हो और जो एक्चुअल में है उसमें कुछ फर्क होता है.
राइट.
जैसे हम जब घर देखने जाते हैं, we can see a lot more than just the pictures.
Yes.
वहाँ पे कोई स्मोक कर रहा है क्या, how is the people, how are the people around, neighborhood कैसा है, ट्रेन स्टेशन से exactly कितनी दूर है. मैप में चेक करना एक चीज है, but when you are there,
वो सब चीजें जो आपको रह के पता चलती, जो आपको दूर से नहीं पता चलती, ये मुझे देखनी भी चाहिए.
बिल्कुल, एब्सोल्युटली. तो ये सारी छोटी छोटी चीजें हमने आइडेंटिफाई किया when we went along.
And when did you form the company?
We formed the company, I think, beginning of 2022.
2022?
Yes.
And it's been like 2.5 years?
Yes. It's been 2.5 years.
How has been the response?
It has been amazing, wonderful, and I think we have been fortunate to be able to help 30 plus families so far.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Even better, we are also in touch with most of them.
Yeah, because you're also like they are your first contact in Canada, so
yeah.
you're building relationships.
Absolutely, absolutely. And they are just our extended network now.
Yeah.
You know, if they have any, उनकी life में कोई personal उनको situation आ जाती है, they're not able to figure out.
Yeah.
It is so nice to have us as their first point of contact.
Yeah.
Like I can't tell you, maybe हम उनको help नहीं कर पाएंगे शायद, but at least that thought कि अच्छा है, maybe
Guidance
let's
तो हो
reach out to
सकती है,
them.
कुछ तो reference, कुछ तो yeah.
शायद कोई pointers मिल जाए.
Yeah, and there's a lot of questions that come up, है ना, और they are like किससे पूछें, because questions may be very silly.
Yeah.
But then in our experience, people have just come up and asked those questions, and they're like, you know, it's so relieving कि हम पूछ सकते हैं और हमें पता है कि
So
हमें
you've got a very good positive feedback.
Judge नहीं करेगा, you know, that's a very gratifying experience
Gratifying
for us.
experience. So, what like can you tell us a little bit more about your We Are Here services? Like, what are the so it's a paid service.
It's a paid service,
And
yes.
what are the different let's say cost options or things that
Right.
people can, and where can they find you?
First and foremost, we help with finding an accommodation for you, or rental accommodation for you. And we are looking for both 6-month and 1-year options, जो भी available है. Month on month भी कर सकते हैं.
Okay.
depending on, you know, whatever
Depending
the
on what
family
you're
needs,
looking
right?
for.
Yeah.
Right. So the first one is rental accommodation. The second one, of course, is setting up utilities, because कई बारी कुछ apartments utilities के साथ आती हैं. So you don't need us to set anything up at all.
But अगर नहीं आती है तो
नहीं आती है. ये भी हमने along the way ही सीखा. So we just divided them into 2 separate services. So utility setup like your internet, electricity, gas, whatever is not included, वो हम help करेंगे. We'll set it up for you.
Yeah.
Third one is groceries. So if you want us to buy minimal कुछ हफ्ते भर के या महीने भर की groceries, whatever you want, we can just buy that and keep it ready for you. तो आप आओ, groceries are all sorted.
Yeah.
एक महीना है आपके पास, you can then acclimatize, आप
Yeah.
आराम से जाते हो. आपको वो फिक्र करने की जरूरत नहीं कि पहले दिन
पहले
क्या
क्या
खाएंगे.
खाएंगे हाँ.
You know, वो वाला, and that's a big stress reliever.
Yeah.
At least what I feel.
कि, you know, travel करके आए हैं चाय बनाने, you know, as simple as that. दूध नहीं है, कहाँ से ले? you know?
हाँ.
So that is the third grocery. And the fourth one is picking up from the airport, like a shuttle service. So we would be the first people to receive you at Calgary, and हम ही जाते हैं. We don't have any cab drivers or anything. So we are the ones who go. We just welcome them, and we drive them straight to their house. They have everything set up. Internet is running. You know, सारा कुछ set up है. The groceries are ready. All they need to do is just unpack, unwind, and just relax.
Yeah.
And then focus on what is more important. SIN number, bank account, so many other things, right?
One step at a time.
One step at a time. Yeah.
So there was one thing that came up. I forgot to ask about it. What's your relationship with ISC?
ISC. Oh, yes. ISC has been a very important part of my journey in Calgary. And I would like to thank Madhuban Performing Arts for that, which is how I got to know ISC. So I was a part of Madhuban Performing Arts, which is a very popular. They're like celebrities.
Yeah.
And I was one of their initial music members. So my music team में था. I was one of the vocalists.
Vocalists, you sing?
We sing, both of us.
Both
sing.
of you sing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's
before he
amazing.
came, I joined it because I was a bachelor,
Yeah.
and you know, I always was looking out for some.
That's another thing I would highly recommend to anybody watching this, is that if you have a hobby or if you have a talent, there's a lot of avenue here to pursue it, and you should definitely pursue it.
Yeah.
You will actually build organic connections through
Exactly,
that.
100%.
And good way of building a network, right?
Yeah.
Good way of building a network too.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was associated with Madhuban, and I think it was in one of the 15th August events in 2021 or 2022. I think it was 2021. जहाँ पे I was representing Madhuban to you know, sing a song in the 15th August City Hall में जो बड़ा event हुआ.
Event was.
And that's what connected me with ISC. So ISC actually then offered me to host the entire 15th August event for the following year.
That's amazing.
That was, I mean, I can't thank them enough. Devesh and Manogya, I cannot thank them enough. Not only did they welcome me, but they also welcomed my family. Now
And they made me a star too, because people thought I was the one hosting. So अगले दिन जब मैं कहीं भी जा रहा हूँ, they were like, you were the one hosting, right? You did great. I'm like, yeah, I know. I took all the compliments. Yeah.
That's how it should be.
That's how it should be, right? Yeah.
भाई होने का क्या फायदा
कुछ तो
फिर?
फायदा हो, सेम शक्ल का रहे.
हाँ, that's amazing. So you guys are multi-talented. आप
my
host करते हो, आप singing करते हो, आप लोगों की help कर रहे हो with the VR services. You are like participating in all these events. You have a very new family, like very young children. How are you like managing all this?
Right now we are only managing them. बाकी सब कुछ back seat में है. We are not able to,
Focus on other
focus,
things.
take out time for.
Yeah, but this is a precious time
It is,
for
no
the
doubt.
whole family.
Yeah,
No doubt.
I mean, it gets challenging, but again, thankfully we have support.
Yeah, we should do another whole episode or another whole podcast on the joint family situation.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really interested to know the dynamics, and we should invite the wives to and parents.
For sure.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
So before we finish, I have a game from Ridla. जो आपका ही game है, I think. झूठ बोले कौवा काटे.
Oh,
I think ये सच बोले
सच बोले कौवा काटे. Okay, sorry. See, I got
हमारा
it.
झूठ बोलना है.
हमारा
झूठ
कौवा
बोलना है.
झूठ बोलने में नहीं करना.
Okay, yeah. So
Okay.
So I have this game from Ridla, and I will ask few questions, and you have to
sure.
tell lies.
Okay.
Okay, that's easy.
So the company that you have, what is its name?
So I work with
No,
No,
ये
not
business
work.
वाली
So the
company.
business
the
company.
business. Okay. The business
Company that you have for helping the new immigrants.
So
we are never there, sir.
we are never there, sir. That's the name.
Okay, what is your, and both of you, what is your least favorite thing to talk about?
Ourselves.
Yeah.
We hate talking. We hate
That's
talking
a,
about
that's a
ourselves.
good
and our
question.
journey.
That's a good
Yes.
answer. And who is the most boring person you've ever met?
Most boring person.
I think my brother is the most boring. He doesn't know how to strike a conversation.
Thanks for the compliment.
And what about you?
The most boring person I've ever met is my son. He's so boring that he's,
He's so quiet.
Yeah, I mean, I just
Yeah, he
keep
doesn't
looking
cry,
at
he
him.
doesn't
I'm telling
like,
you,
yeah.
kuch to masti,
He just speaks
do
into
something.
syllables.
Yeah. No
So
throwing
boring.
tantrums.
Yeah, that's
no
true.
nothing.
That is true. What is your biggest fear?
I have no
Biggest-
fear.
Well, my biggest fear is losing all my hair. Right now, I have,
Yeah, he told me about it even yesterday.
like, I see a lot of people without hair, and I'm like, God, I hope I'm not one of them. Yeah.
Well, you have enough facial hair to compensate for that.
भगवान कुछ लेता तो कुछ दे
कुछ
देता
दे
है.
देता है. Thick eyebrows, you know.
Oh yeah.
Great
मतलब
features.
that's an argument I have with my parents, right? जहाँ कम देने थे वहाँ
Well, you should now thank them because thick eyebrows are in fashion.
In fashion now,
Yes,
yes.
yes. Very much in fashion.
Is it? Okay,
Yes.
that's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the most overrated thing about yourself?
Wow, I can't think of.
सब
I
कुछ
think
सही है,
my-
कुछ overrated
सब कुछ सही है. You know, I'm so perfect.
I think my ponytail.
Yeah, लोग
People
तो
just
फालतू में
say,
टेंशन देते
I
हैं.
know.
And I think I'm too perfect in myself.
Thank you so much for this lovely and
Thank you,
fun-filled
thank you.
conversation. I learned so much, and also like आप इतनी सारी चीजें कर रहे हो and you're managing it so well. That is the lesson I want from our viewers to take, that you should be open and you should be willing to try things because that will only enrich your life. Thank you so much for
Thank you
coming,
so much.
Roshan and Rohan.
Thank you, Sneha. Thank you so much for having us. It was
Thank you for having
a fun time. Thank you.